We are interviewing today His Excellency Mr. Darar Al-Filasi, member of the National Council here in the United Arab Emirates. Mr. Al-Filasi, thank you so much for agreeing to have this interview. In many places in the Arab world, Israel is presented as some sort of the ultimate enemy, especially among younger generations. We see a lot of hostility against Israel. I was wondering, how do you see things here in the United Arab Emirates? What is the mentality regarding Israel among young generations here?
We had been taught and put on our brain, brainwashed by stories of hate. And I think now it is the time we arrange everything. And I think this is where UAE is leading, trying to develop education, removing the hate preaching in education, trying to live in harmony. I think what need Middle East is somebody who have the courage, which is like Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, to lead. And you can see it now, after the step we took, and everything started to settle. Then you will find people coming. Bahrain came, Sudan is talking now, Oman is there, so it's coming. But in a different speed,
For many years now, both Egypt and Qatar have been some sort of mediators between Israel and the Palestinians, and more specifically between Israel and Hamas. Do you think that now, after the peace agreement was signed between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, we might see the UAE entering that spot, maybe trying to become some sort of a mediator itself?
UAE is committed to the cause, to the Palestinian people, not to the, let's say, the Palestinian leader. Both of them, Hamas and the authority, both of them are corrupt. Both of them are murderer. So now the anger which is on UAE from both of them, because UAE stopped paying anything. We want to pay, we will pay the people, not both of you. About Abbas, Abbas is what? He's what we call in Arabic, Taj al-Shanta, which is, let's say, which is a common trader, which is on his back. He's running here and there. He came here and he brought his son, and his son was disputing a cart. I am an agent for this one. I am an agent for this company. Now you came to help the Palestinian, or you came to sell yourself or your companies? So we know all the tricks and dirty tricks they do. So I think now UAE had enough, Saudi Arabia had enough, but every time they miss the chance by refusing to negotiate, and they lose more, and they lose more, and they lose more. Now I think it is time for them to sit and negotiate.
During the last 2 years, there was a relative calm between Israel and Hamas regarding the Gaza Strip, a result of Qatari aid money that has been entering the Gaza Strip in tens of millions of dollars during the last 2 years. What do you make of this policy?
It is terrorist, and you are funding it. Is it called terrorist funding or not? As a law, if you finance it, it is included in the terrorists. So I think they are involved so deeply, they cannot get out of it now. We have an old saying in Arabic, which is, this is the cow where they milk it. So always Qatar is paying Hamas. And this will backfire at them in the end. Because you have in Qatar now Hamas leadership, you have Taliban leadership, and you have the most dangerous thing, which is Muslim Brotherhood leadership is there. You consider Hamas is the arm wing of Muslim Brotherhood. And you have also the National Guard, Iranian Guards, Revolution Guard is there, Turkish is there. And you have the base, which is Al-Adid base is there. So this cocktail is dangerous.
What do you see as a solution to Hamas in the Gaza Strip and to the conflict between Israel and Hamas?
I think the best solution to fight terrorists is to dry the sources. The sources is the money. Once you dry it, you stop from everywhere, you will get rid of all terrorists. I think now we know Hamas is a terrorist, but if you cut the money from it, it cannot continue. It will let's say, it will eat itself together. This is traditional Hamas. They will start fighting and they will kill each other together. So the main source of get rid of Hamas is stopping finance. That one. This is the most dangerous thing. If you stop the source of the fire, it will die by itself. So the petrol and the wood and everything is coming from Qatar. So the fire is still there. So stop it, then everything will die.
Iran has been building proxies all across the Middle East for years now. We're seeing its effects in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen with the Houthi rebels. Do you think Iran imposes a security threat on the United Arab Emirates?
We are dealing with Iran for so long. We know, Iran knows, whatever. We are the source for there. If we close all the doors, they will die of hunger, you know. So they cannot import and export except from here. So they want to play. It's like a cancer. They ruin Iraq now. Iraq now become the most corrupted country. They interfere in Syria and they destroy Syria completely. Whereas, let's say, Lebanon, now you can see what's happening in Lebanon, especially the last explosion, the harbor explosion, how it is Houthi and the destruction of everything and using ballistic missile.
Turkey was very critical of the agreement between Israel and the UAE. It even threatened to take back its embassy from the UAE back to Turkey. Do you think that the United Arab Emirates has any reason to fear Turkey?
I don't think anything good will come from Turkey, especially Erdogan. We know him. Now he is having, let's say, with Greece a problem, with Cyprus there is a problem. He got involved in Syria for the oil. There is a problem with the Kurds. Armenia now a problem. Libya there is a problem. Everywhere you have a problem with Egypt. So if there is a problem between me and you, it is 50-50 to be blamed. But if you have with 100 people a problem, there must be something wrong with you, not with all people. He's a clown, which he always liked to juggle with things, you know. I think juggling with this politically is harmful for himself. This was war just for the, let's say, internal effect. We know. If he wants to take his ambassador, we welcome. Let him take it. We are not losing anything, so we don't mind. I am very happy, in fact, if they left us alone, you know.
One of the things that the UAE has been criticized for is not having a fully democratic system. What do you say to this criticism?
We created a culture which is accepted for us. Okay, you have your own democracy. Leave it for you, but don't impose it on us. And let us learn step by step, this is, I think, the most suitable things in the Middle East. I expect within maybe 10 or 5 years, it will be free election for the parliament, you know. And it will change completely. Now it is half election, half nominated by the government. I think our democracy is tailor-made for us. It suits us, and it's working. The most important thing, it's working. It's not like the other democracy, there is always backlash, and there's fighting, and there's no. We try to find the solution for everything.
Thank you so much for agreeing to have this interview. Appreciate it very much.
It's my pleasure.